You want to do some more dancing?
I guess.
That's cool. Gives me a little time. I'm sorry, guys. One of the reasons I am putting a little bit of hot food in my mouth is because my throat is bothering me.
Yeah. And I find it interesting that I'll read comments all the time on the shows. And sometimes these people complain about you eating. And it's like, you shouldn't eat while you produce shows. And it's like, so that's your criticism of the show, that you eat. Or one time you burped and it's, oh, great, burping. And it's like, you're supposed to be this perfect person. I just say to you people, and I'll keep it at that. You got to eat. We all eat, don't we?
Also, I said I was sick recently. I wasn't joking about that. I don't feel 100% yet, guys. To be honest with you, I'm not feeling all that put together yet. But I saw some crazy stuff online, and I was like, that's it. I'm getting out of my pajamas, and I'm going to go and do something about it. So I'm here. I'm here with you, bringing you an update, as only a Mexican Crossing Lines can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who I am, a Mexican Crossing Lines, Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And this is Duke Gomez-Schempp.
And you're listening to 88.1 FM, KPPPLP, Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. You can find all of my past shows in Spanish, in English, about the Caravan on kpppfm.com. And if you want to call, comment, ask me to interview you, share show topic ideas, or other information, how can folks do that, dude?
Well, if you want to call, you can call our message line, which is just takes a message, about 3 minutes. And if that's your thing, you can call 701-566-0917. Again, that number is 701-566-0917. Give us a call. You'll record your voice message. Tell us your phone number. Tell us what you need. Tell us what you want. And we'll get back to you. If you don't want to do that and you want to just do regular email, you can email Cindy at kpppfm.com or me, Duke, at kpppfm.com. Or you can use our Facebook. You know, our Facebook's been very popular. And thank you, all of you who are sending this information by Facebook. It's great because it's through Messenger. You can do attachments. You do links. Our main radio station Facebook page is 88.1 FM Fargo Moorhead. We also have the People's Press Project, the Mexi-Can. You can follow Cindy on a public page at searching for @CindyGoSchempp. We also have a Twitter account, and you can tweet us at media_PPP. And go to kpppfm.com. Again, it's kpppfm.com. Where we store all of our shows, and we'll do audio, the ones that some of them go on the air here locally, because we are a nonprofit, non-commercial, low-power FM radio station. We have a reach of potentially over 165,000 people in the Fargo Moorhead area. That's Fargo, North Dakota, Moorhead, Minnesota. And if you want to support us, because we are a nonprofit and we rely on our listeners, we rely on our community to keep on moving. We've been going for a couple of years. Go to kpppfm.com/donate. And you can make a tax-deductible donation to an actual nonprofit organization that you can write off the donation in your taxes. And through your donation, we'll be able to continue to do our broadcasting. And also, we've been uploading our videos to YouTube because not everybody uses Facebook. And so we're developing a YouTube audience. The YouTube channel's name is Duke1517, all one word, Duke1517. You can go there. And you can also comment there. And we've had a bunch of subscribers that are now commenting. And, I read them all the time. And it's very interesting. So many ways to get hold of us. And also on kpppfm.com, there's a contact form, which goes directly to our email. So we won't miss your message. Or you can comment on the shows that are there. You can go to Programs, A Mexican Crossing Lines, or go to Archives and see basically all the shows that go on our station. But if you want to find A Mexican Crossing Line shows, that date back to whenever we first started doing a Mexican Crossing Line, go to Programs and go on the Mexican Crossing Lines program.
A lot of people that watch us are just here because somebody told them, you got to listen to what this lady is saying about some people at Standing Rock, or about the asylum seekers, or about this. And they just come over here to watch and troll. They come over here because they're angry. Like, who is this self-loathing Mexican woman? Like, people call me a racist. People call me all sorts of things simply because I am exposing people that are exploiting someone, lying, defrauding people. Currently, it's the Caravan. And you know what? All I have to say to all of you folks is stick around. Stick around. All I'm saying is stick around. Listen, evaluate for yourselves, and stick around. Eventually, all of the things I show you, which I show receipts for, I show my work, I show my proof of evidence. I know that for a lot of you, you'd rather stick your fingers in your ears and go, la, 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 I am not listening to you, because you do not want your idols threatened. There are no sacred cows on my show. I come for the people telling the lies. I am frank. I am full throttle. I am honest. And along the way, those many haters have many times come to me to say, I was wrong about you. And I mean, I'm sorry, a lot of times it's only because they have now fallen victim to the same people that, against all odds, they were defending from folks like me, denying the credibility of our show. And believe it or not, whether or not you people that have maintained this staunch support for these people exploiting campaigns, astroturfing issues that have mostly to do with people of color and poor people, you too have been helping to maintain that veneer. You have been, by your loyalty to these horrible exploiters, you have allowed them to continue to exploit more people through the value you gave them, the support you gave them against all odds, for the things that you spoke against this show and my information to protect your own feelings and their reputations. And that means, and if you are one of those people, that means you have work to do to repair the damage you did to all of the people that you continued. And you know, one of the first things that you can do to start helping repair what you did, you need to expose those folks. And you need to expose them not only for the thing they just did to you, not just because you're the latest jilted woman in their lives, because they told you you can't be Indian no more, because they called you out and said, you're a pretendian, you're not a real Indian, stop saying that you're part of us, Desiree Kane, stop speaking for us, Desiree Kane. Just because you finally are fed up with something they did to you, like Waste Wee Young, that doesn't mean that you're not responsible for calling out all the ways in the past in which you helped those people to defraud, to lie, to misrepresent Indigenous people. You have a responsibility to expose all of the ways in which you were responsible in the past. That's the mea culpa you have to bring to the table. I am challenging you all, if you are sincere, if you want to be believed again, if you want people to trust you, to trust your word, that's part of what you have to do. It's kind of like this 12-step system, you know, when you're like in Alcoholics Anonymous, one of the things that you have to do is be sorry for the stuff that you did and make amends. And these folks have been doing the opposite.
That's true.
They just keep doubling down on defending the people that, like I showed you, Laura Livingston Berger was doing, are defrauding folks. She was, despite the fact that we caught Marcus Mitchell doing thousands of dollars of online fundraising for gunshot wounds in his chest that he did not have, that he made up out of whole cloth, and which a bunch of Standing Rock leadership and celebrities like Lolly B, Laura Livingston Berger, and John Gonzalez, Dancing Bear, whatever, Dancing Queen, whatever his name is. What's his Indian name? And then there's, Christina Hollenbeck, who speaks in a Lakota. That is my village. You know, that all of these pretend Indians from like the Nexus group, the group of billionaire wealth. That is what they have done. They've continued, as I'm about to show you on my show today, to support these groups, they are ride or die. These people are their families.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what they have been caught doing, what they are associated with, they continue to support them. They continue to meet up with them. They continue to work with them. And they continue to exploit campaigns and people wherever they may find the opportunities to do so. Currently, that's happening in Mexico.
Yeah.
I also told you about the French guy, the guy from the Guggenheim family fortune.
Oh, yeah.
Amadeus Sinbad William Rumney.
Yep.
Amadeus. I can't help it.
Mm-hmm. Funny.
Have you seen the stuff that... I was just showing some videos in my last show of the crazy things that Amadeus was doing for the so-called caravan, including filling baggies of milk and taking Honduran children to his apartment.
Yeah.
Creepy stuff.
Yeah, that guy's definitely creepy. Getting very creeped out by the stuff he is doing. And he's known as the Frenchman. He's spread around in Tijuana. You know, he's known because this guy is part of the Guggenheim family, and you know, they're a rich family that has museums and art and all this stuff. He's traveled to, in the past 6 months, he's traveled to, 10 different countries, day by day, from France to New York to LA to Mexico, back to Iceland, out in the middle of the ocean in the Titanic, and so this guy is in the videos we showed, he's filling all these baggies with what he said was milk. It looked like he had an operation going there. He's in there, cooking food and cross-contaminating food and giving it to the people that are on the streets. And then we see this video where he has this little boy in there and another guy, and this guy is creepy, but he's having an influence because he's one of these frauds, and he's connected to all these Standing Rock people. And the thing about the Standing Rock so-called phonies, Standing Rock phonies is what I call them. They've been infiltrating this, and they've been milking it, and people have been giving thousands and thousands of dollars that I'm sure is not going directly to the people. And they're down there interfering with the Mexican community that is really trying to deal with the crisis in their community and doing a really good job. And these folks are getting in the way. So when Cindy does Spanish show, she has a following of people in Tijuana and in Mexico that are wising up. In fact, she called people before she started doing any shows and said, what's going on? And people in her family and people in Mexico City. And we're saying, yeah, we want to know because this is really strange things going on with this caravan. So she's been on top of this. We didn't want to have to cover any of this. But when the Standing Rock phonies go up front and they start raising thousands and thousands of dollars and taking advantage of people in the community that really think they're doing something for people, it was really too bad. They need to be exposed, and we need to do that. And we're doing that every day we do a show.
And I was told by the Mexican people in the media as well as in the authorities, the government officials, that the information about these groups, leaders that I have been showcasing on my show are known to them. They have been watching them very carefully. There are currently criminal complaints against some of their members, and the police is watching them very closely for any sign of trouble because they will arrest. So I think that one of the things that you can all help me do is to spread this information far and wide on all of the groups associated with the caravan in English so that people can identify who these exploiters are and keep their money in their wallet and or send it to a real charity. Make a donation to us. That's all I want for Christmas, your support. So that we can continue to give you this important information about what's happening. These folks do not, I repeat, do not need your money. And they definitely are exploiting the caravan. The last thing I saw that this Rumney Guggenheim person was doing was these videos over at the new warehouse shelter. So there was a contingent of people outside of the old temporary shelter at Benito Juarez Sports Center on Cinco de Mayo Street. that refused to leave because of a whole host of reasons they continued to give, saying that they wanted to stay close to their dream and they could see the wall from where they were. They wanted to avoid going to a place that was overcrowded, was the recent excuse. Also, with too many rules, they said that they didn't like the too many rules, although they really didn't articulate very well what those rules that bothered them so much was. Among them were the fact that surveillance cameras were going to be put up, that people weren't allowed to come and go as they pleased, which was a lie. They complained that donations that were going there for that meant for them weren't reaching them, and that's also a lie. That they are being oppressed. They continue to say that today. Even they were holding a press conference yesterday with a bunch of Christmas, figures from the Holy Family. They were dressed as figures from the Holy Family, and they had a little baby Jesus in a basket on the table in front of them, and they were all handcuffed and taped on their mouths to signify the oppression that they feel that they are in at the shelter. While at the same time, their spokespersons are giving this double message to the Mexican and international press and to the ears of all of those listening to them in the organization of the Barretal, the government officials, the military protection that is there, the people that are there to serve them food, etc. They're giving this double message that they are being oppressed by this place. And also, we really appreciate all the help you guys have been giving us. You guys are so good to us. We love you. You guys are great. The Mexican people, mwah, mwah. You guys have been so helpful. Also, y'all are some evil people oppressing us.
Yeah.
We are being oppressed. And the media kept asking them at their press conference, what was the oppression? Can you give us an example? And they couldn't give any examples because they're lying. They're lying because it furthers their agenda to request political asylum, to request asylum in the United States, to say that they're being persecuted in Mexico, even though there is not an iota of evidence to say that. But despite all of these excuses, this myriad of excuses that they gave for not wanting to leave the street where they were literally exposing themselves to the elements, the rain and everything else, in a very dangerous part of the city, in one of the most dangerous cities in the world, where recently 2 people were killed after going to try to cash their paycheck because they got diverted to some prostitutes that lured them away saying, you want to have sex? And when they got to their destination, they were asked for all their money. I mean, the hustlers in this part of town know when people's payday is, and evidently they wanted to rob them of their money. But these guys were on their way to cash the check, so they didn't have cash yet, and they were murdered. 2 of them were murdered. 1 of them survived. They're also exposed to a lot of drug use in the area. All sorts of things can happen when you're outside completely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And not to mention the fact that that was a very unhealthy condition because they didn't have porta potties. There was no food anymore. So this French man was running a kitchen. This French man was said to have intervened to try to help him get this new shelter for them. He is not the person paying for the rent at the shelter. It's the federal government. That's been confirmed by the Mexican media. And he has been getting videotaped by Doug McLean and Indigenous Life Movement. But let me just tell you really quickly that these folks that were these holdouts that did not want to leave. I was watching a video where the press was asking questions of a government official. And he said, because people are very upset. Now, there are 2 shelters, even though there's plenty of room for all of these people at one shelter. So now there are 2 shelters, and the second shelter is at a warehouse, which is down the street from El Barretal. Not that far, like literally 50 meters away. Mm-hmm. You can throw a rock at the warehouse from where these people were camped out on the street. And they were given an ultimatum of 72 hours to clear the streets, which I believe has already started taking place or may even have been completed by this point. And what they found out, what these government officials found out, when these folks kept saying, we don't want to go, we don't want to go, they don't have bus tickets from the other place. They have all these excuses, all these reasons why they don't want to go. They don't want to go. They got to stay here. They got to stay on the street. They can't go inside the building. They don't want to go to the barrital. They don't want to go to the barrital. Okay, fine. We'll get you a warehouse right here, and we can have everybody go in there. And they still didn't want to go. So this government official explained why. He says, well, when you've taken away all of their justifications, you come to realize that there is a group of people among this caravan that are addicts. And that's why they don't want to go inside of any organized shelter that would keep drugs out, because they're addicts and they need to use every day. And so that's what we think is the real problem with those remaining in the streets. They don't want to go inside the shelter because they won't be able to openly use drugs here. So I saw these videos which were being promoted by Indigenous Life Movement, in which Lolly B appears doing her horrible attempt at translating. They're talking to the Frenchman about the wonderful works that he has done at this new shelter. And he's presenting what's going on behind him in the shelter as if he did it all by himself. It's all his doing. And Adam Elfers is there, and Lolly B is there, and Doug McLean is there. All people from Standing Rock, as you know. So let me show you who Doug McLean is. If you've never seen him before, here is his Facebook page. Let's start with that. Can you read the things that he does for a living there on his About? Also, notice that Adam Elfers is one of his very first posts on his page.
Okay, Adam Elfers. Basically, this is Doug McLean. He works at Uni Maka, Grandmother Earth, former Bequest Program Manager at WWF, former Echo Merchandise National Sales and Marketing Manager at Planet Arc, former Eco Merchandise Manager at Greenpeace Australia Pacific. He studied environmental science at the University of Pennsylvania. He went to Pensbury Senior High School, lives in Tanhan, New South Wales, Australia. He's from Yonkers, New York. He's followed by 4,136 people. And over here on the side, Adam Elfers was with Doug McLean for others, and he's like, hey, quick update. I'm now back in the U.S., unexpectedly flown home by my family to see my grandma, whose health has been rapidly declining. I'm still heavily involved with supporting the Central American Sanctuary Caravan in Mexico and plan to return with even more support and a heart very soon. In coming days, I'll have some announcements, different ways involved, and a vision for January's return. Thank you all for the support. Already our community has made amazing impact, and there's still much more to do. Remember, when the world wants to build a wall, it's up to us to build this bridge. Updates super soon. Prayers for the fam, north, south.
You know what I find really hilarious?
What?
The minute after I send the names of each of these people to the authorities in Mexico, within a day or two, they're gone.
Oh, yeah?
Oops, had to leave for real quick.
Oh, yeah.
It happened when I gave the name of Evan Duke to the authorities and Myron. They're like, oh, bye, we got to go to Texas.
Yeah, we got to go do the Texas camp.
They were doing a video in which I told you, they said, we're going to be here for a while. But didn't they say, like, we'll be here for a while?
Yeah.
The next day they were gone.
Yep. He said, now we're in Arizona.
Yep. And then with Susie Desba.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she just gotten there. Bye. She's gone.
Yeah.
Like, one after another. They're like, boom. Tienen cola que les pisen. So they got to run. Which tells you what kind of warriors they really are. They're not going to get into any trouble. They're not going to let themselves get arrested. They're not really down for the people or there to protect them. The minute there is any slight even discomfort or danger for them, they are out of there. And that's exactly what they're going to do to the caravan. They're going to leave them in the lurch the minute things get hot. They're not going to be in the thick of it. They're not going to get hurt. Others get hurt for them.
Mm-hmm.
They just exploit the hell out of it. And as I said before, Mexico is not the United States.
Yep.
Right, Duke?
That's right. In fact, these folks, they're crossing an international border. It's not like they can just waltz in and out of the place. They're basically having to have some sort of documentation unless they just want to, cross illegally. They don't want to, you just walk in there. You can, in Tijuana, you can actually walk across and spend a day and come back, and they're not going to, track you too much. But if you're there to actually do like they say they're doing, they're there to do humanitarian work, they got to check in and get a visa. And these folks aren't doing that. So they're already breaking the law when they stay, more than their day that they're supposed to go over there for. And so I think that some of the people are cruising. And also, if you're going to bring in a bunch of items into Mexico, you can be subject to search. They could see stuff too, because it's like, there are some tariffs, there's different things that you might have to pay for, and the groups that are doing upfront donations and really doing the work is they're going in there and they're being upfront and they have all the material. Also for the journalists. Now in the Baratal shelter, they're expecting journalists to have some documentation, like a letter from the publisher. Documentation that actually says they are journalists and they work for a news media organization.
A real one.
A real one. And I don't know if you remember, in Standing Rock, they started doing that towards, I think it was October, November. They started asking for credentials because they had so many people that were fly-by-night journalists, not really journalists, people with a phone that were pretending they were journalists. And so there's nothing wrong with people asking for credentials. So the people that are pretending to be parts of news agencies and news organizations and say they're with media and stuff actually have to show proof that they are. And a lot of these folks don't want to do that because that means accountability. You have to be accountable, and these folks don't want to be accountable at all.
No. And interestingly enough, in that press conference that those leaders of the caravan were having yesterday, they were actually asking for them to relax the rules of entry into the Barretal. Like, do you entitled people not understand that you cannot change the rules by making demands? Like, seriously, these folks that are in the leadership of the caravan from Central America, first of all, some of them are Mexican. Some of them are Mexican American, passing themselves off as Central Americans, like Pitaya Queen and many others. And some of them are selling out their own people, like Roberto Ulloa, who they recently arrested. So if you don't know who Roberto Ulloa was, he was this guy that went to the consulate recently and made a demand that if the United States... Well, first of all, I made a demand that in 72 hours, they needed to let everyone from the caravan into the United States and grant them asylum. And he said, failing that, he wanted Trump to pay each one of them $50,000 so that they could go back home. Even though that guy has been exiled, self-exiled from Honduras for 31 years because he was labeled a terrorist after he took part in the bombing of a Chinese restaurant where 6 American Marines were seriously injured. So because of that, he self-exiled out of the country and hasn't been able to go back home. I don't think he would be able to go back home even if he did get those $50,000 because he's a wanted man. Mm-hmm. That's why he's been running around. And that known terrorist was one of the people speaking on behalf of the caravan?
Yeah.
What? Mm-hmm. And all of these other people promoting this nonsense don't even realize that it was giving the innocent people in that caravan a bad name. It was misrepresenting their real demands. And the people there were so angry at how the media and the people in the country basically were made into a laughingstock by this man and his ridiculous demands that they had him arrested. If you didn't see the video, you can go on YouTube and look for when they arrested Ulloa. You'll find it. The people are chanting, "We want to go to work." They wanted the cops to arrest him. That's why the cops arrested him, because those people were sick of that guy. I also saw a really creepy video of Roberto Ulloa and some other people delivering a can of milk, like the one that Sinbad was having people put in baggies like it was cocaine. He delivered an entire can of that to a toddler. What was really effed up about this video was that this little boy, he came over to pick up the can. They're like, "Look what we have for you." And he literally looks like he's barely 2 years old, if even that. And he like toddles over to get this can. He's so excited about his favorite, kind of milk. He recognizes it and he's like, "Oh!" He goes over and gets it really joyfully. And he kind of like falls into the arms of the man with the milk because he can't walk very good. And that guy gives him a hug and he's like, "Yay." And then he takes his milk and goes. And then the guy goes, "Wait, come back here." To the toddler. He says, "Come back here. I got a hug." But he didn't get a hug. He points at Roberto Ulloa and he says, "Roberto needs a hug too." Now the child is literally sitting on top of his can of milk.
Oh, yeah.
He is looking down at his can of milk. He's inspecting it. He's not even looking in the direction of the guy that is telling him he needs to come over and give this other creepy adult a hug in exchange for his milk. And he's like, "Yeah, this is this guy right here. Hey, this guy over here." He keeps saying "hey" to this kid so much. The parents uncomfortably tell their child to look at him. And he's like, "This man right here made the phone calls to get you this milk." Really? How many guys does it take to get a damn can of powdered milk for a child? How many people were involved in this whole thing? He goes, "You need to come over here and give him a hug." And the little kid, sheepishly pushed by his parents, goes across the tent again to give Roberto Ulloa a hug. This is the kind of exploitation, the stomach-turning exploitation of these folks for their live streams that all of these disgusting people are doing in their own benefit, for their own benefit. And it looks like they are the saviors of the thing, right? Like Sinbad, Guggenheim, Amadeus, Wolfgang, whatever his name is, the French guy that's lurking around Tijuana right now. He's standing in front of the buildings like, "Look what I have wrought." No, he hasn't, but he's taking the credit for it. He's raising money off of the caravan. Most of it, I can guarantee you, isn't going to the caravan, while they collect donations that they are giving to the caravan. And they simply are promoting themselves, their brand, they're marketing their book, their documentary, they're building their name and their celebrity so they can go and give speeches at universities. I've shown you what they're doing, how they're exploiting, how they're creating lucre for themselves out of these situations. But what they don't tell you is that they created the perfect storm for this to exist. They're the ones that helped to organize and fund the caravan, bottleneck it all into one location in the most disorganized and dangerous ways possible so that they could create the crisis that they come to fix. Then they are the saviors of the crisis that they themselves created. And we're supposed to give them money and help them?
Yeah.
Dear God. No. I'm not down with that. That's exactly what's going on here, folks. So let me tell you more about this Doug guy. He is currently, and this is true, dressing himself up as Santa. Okay, these folks claim that they care about indigenous people's rights, sovereignty, their right to their own religions, their right to their own belief system. Santa is not something that Mexicans have as a tradition. That is American capitalism. Okay, colonizer, imperialist, Doug McLean. The posadas is what we celebrate. The Holy Family that I told you that the people in the caravan were dressing up at as their press conference is what the people in the caravan know and celebrate for Christmas. The posadas that were taken to the children in the shelters is what Mexicans and Central Americans celebrate. That is what you should respect. But instead, this colonizer colonizing has to bring his Sancho Claus to the shelter. Here's Doug McLean as Santa. Satanás.
Here we go. Santa. Yeah. We're live.
Want to tell me what you're doing here?
So here we are to spread joy and peace and goodwill with a prayer and a blessing for this and all future generations. No human being is illegal. No human being is illegal. Seeking asylum is a human right, as guaranteed by the Constitution and as guaranteed by the many accords that the United States and 183 other countries are signed on to with the United Nations. And we all might be seeking asylum as the ravages of climate change and climate chaos, increased sea level rise, deforestation, forest fires, and climate chaos.
Let me ask you this, because you've been here as, not necessarily Santa, but for quite some time now, and what you have witnessed, so I guess what have you witnessed, and then just the joy that you saw last night and tonight? I mean,
So last night we were in Bonito Juarez, asylum seeker, exodus, refugee camp, and we were witnessing there the people that were living on the street, people that had moved into warehouses, a warehouse, and we brought some Christmas joy to them. We brought hygiene packs to I don't know, a couple of hundred women there to distribute to their families, as well as lollipops for the kids that were not super high in sugar. So we had that cleared, vetted by a very diligent vegan mom, and so we had some good quality candy that we were giving out to the kids, and we brought some Christmas joy to those kids. Now 140 people just got cleared from that camp this morning at 4:30 a.m.
Is that the number you heard? I heard 350. I heard 350 this morning. Right?
Okay. I heard, like, I might have been wrong. So
I could be wrong too. So we should clarify.
It has to go up to the North Pole, get cleared, and then it comes back to me. You lose some data along the way. So it's hard to get signal out here. We're all out here. We're doing the best we can to support humanity, to peace on earth, goodwill to all men and all women and all children. A wonderful eco-philosopher, William McDonough, said, the design and an ethical dilemma for our life is, how do we love all children of all species for all time? And this is our dilemma. So we are trying our best to do that, but to bring some joy here to this camp. You can see behind me the camp. This is only part of the camp. The women and children are in another zone over here, and there are people just all over the rooftops and under all these tarps, because it gets hot in the day and then cold at night, and people are here literally running for their lives. So as you're at home in America or wherever you are in the world, spare a thought for the people that are here in Baratal refugee camp, and they are literally running for their lives. A lot of them are climate refugees running from Honduras, which has had 2 crop failures in a row. And we're just here to bring a little bit of Christmas joy and a wish that all of this is resolved with the greatest amount of humanity, because literally we are all in the same boat together. This is one small spaceship, pale blue dot floating in infinite space, and we can be a lot more human than meeting them with tear gas and rubber bullets and razor wire. This is not, you know, the best of how we are as.
Wow.
Look at the tear gas and the rubber bullets and the razor wire everywhere. They're running for their lives. Did you see them run?
No, I didn't see anybody running.
I'm like, that guy is running really, really fast. Or maybe this guy is on drugs.
Yeah.
Maybe this guy is... oh, my God. Did you hear how he was talking?
Yeah, especially when he started switching into, it's all about climate. You know, we're just a little pale blue dot floating through space. I thought, yeah, you're floating through space. But I noticed in some of the posts and some of the stuff we've actually prepared for the show, he makes the assertion that this migrant caravan is due to the CO2 emissions. It's all about the environment, and that's why they've left their community to go north. And I'm like, so he's trying to spin it into an environmental issue. And, you know, he's not doing a very good job. And also him dressed as Santa Claus. It's like, I want to talk about, you know, the lack of cultural sensitivity to not learning anything about what the people's beliefs are. You know, the times I've been in Mexico at Christmas time, I've been in Mexico at Christmas time. And as Cindy said, there's been a lot of commercialization from the United States that has kind of seeped into Mexico. But, you know, people were doing all sorts of different things that weren't related to Christmas, but there would be some sort of Christmas regalia around, you know. And then, you know, this idea about cooking turkeys on Christmas, you know, no one cooks turkeys. In fact, most people don't even use their oven. They put stuff in their oven and use it for storage. So there were places that actually would cook you a turkey, you know, prepare it and cook it so you can go pick it up and bring it with the meal. But if you do a Christmas meal, it's full of all sorts of traditional foods, and it ain't no Santa Claus coming down to get cookies, you know, bringing in the gear that night, you know.
We went to Posada at our family's house, and we had 3 piñatas. Remember, for the kids?
Yeah.
That's what's celebrated. The Holy Family is celebrated. Jesus is celebrated. Mary, Joseph, the manger, the 3 wise kings. Posadas take place from December 12th all the way through Christmas. And through 3 Wise King Day, you continue to celebrate the holiday season, which culminates on the 6th of January, when presents are given to the children by the 3 wise kings. But I guess Doug doesn't have the time to figure out what traditions are in Mexico, and he wants to oppress the people with Sancho Claus.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. Christmas to Mexicans, especially those in Mexico that live, a lot of them in poverty, is oppressive. One of the reasons why the tradition of the posadas exists is because everyone in the community comes together in prayer and in celebration of the holiday season around the migration of the family to the manger and not finding a place to stay, the lack of hospitality, the lack of care and concern for the stranger and the refugee that is traveling. And it was recreated in the Posada tradition, where a group of people playing the innkeepers along the route and do a call and response song with another group of people playing the Holy Family. And you go from door to door. Sometimes you end up at a church at the end of it. Sometimes you end up someone's house, and you go to door to door doing this. And finally, at the last place where you're going to have the party and the food and the piñatas are going to happen, they let you in and they say, "Enter, holy travelers. Entren santos peregrinos, peregrinos." If you're a Mexican, you know this tradition. Doug McLean does not know it. Doug McLean does not care. The people of Mexico know it, and the people of Mexico have made sure that the children have enjoyed their posadas. Mexicans in Mexico, which many of them are poor, and I'm sure the Central Americans too, find it oppressive for American capitalism to impose their holiday, which forces them to participate in a ravenous capitalistic system that impoverishes people like them even further so that they don't look like jerks to their children. And this guy, this white man, is reinforcing that nonsense on the most poverty-stricken people in the world, in Mexico. And also while telling them he's doing them a favor.
Yeah.
You see why we can't have nice things? It's because delusional, elitist, leftists like this guy think that they're better than the racists on the right. And they think that they have it figured out. And these sold out Indians who are also in the elite because they've gone to Harvard, because they've made their millions, because they've, entered a different stratosphere, think that they are the road to the salvation of those that look like him. Marianne Thompson Frank is trying to liberate her people, but she, LaDonna, the Nexus Group, all of these people I've been telling you about, they don't know how to do any of that because they don't have an idea of what it's like to be those people that they're representing, that they're speaking for, that they're selling out. And they sell out to billionaire wealth, to energy policy and politics. They politicize this caravan. They have politicized these people and this issue, and they do not care what happens to the caravan as long as it fits in their agenda. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's really disturbing actually, because the more I watch, the more I see every day, because we're watching videos every day. We're getting updates every day. I get more and more disgusted on what people are doing. And also, as people narrate what's going on, I have limited knowledge. I'm not from Mexico. I'm married to a Mexican, and I've learned a lot over the past 10 years. But I still don't know a lot about the customs and the people. And I've learned a lot, and I've learned really to keep my mouth shut and also to communicate with people. And these, lolly bees out there doing these videos and talking to people and mistranslating what they say, paraphrasing what they say, not including what they say, because I live with someone who speaks the language and who can translate word for word what the person's saying, and trying to basically paint a picture for a strategy that these people are doing, that are trying to sham people and put people in danger. And they're basically taking advantage of people. And this is Doug McLean, who's the focus of our show tonight. He's the newest edition of an old tradition, which are the scammers and the people who are trying to rip people off and trying to basically enrich themselves and also make themselves look like heroes. Mm-hmm. It's like Standing Rock was a testing ground to do all this work, and they're implementing this plan that was developed, and this is the new plan of activism, which is basically all fake.
Well, it comes all the way, it came from stuff that they were involved, all of them were involved with before, going all the way back to Occupy Wall Street.
That's right, yeah.
And they've been working on political campaigns and all sorts of things for all of this stuff, So here's the thing that he is promoting right now. It's a dark and bleak border. It's a war zone. These people are running for their lives. Look at the evil border patrol. Look at the police. So let me just start off by saying, for somebody that's just tuning in going, who is this Mexican lady and why is she not? Why isn't she speaking out against the border? Why isn't she speaking out against Border Patrol, the wall, detention centers, ICE? I have, folks. I always have. I always will. I've always denounced them. I have been actually doing investigative journalism, exposing how they run those facilities with facts, figures, information, hours and hours and hours and hours of shows. And I've been doing this all my life. All of my life. As a human being, later as a person that helped people get their documentation with INS, trained by INS, working as an interpreter in immigration and detention centers and hearings. I have done it as a paralegal. I have done it as an advocate. I have done it as an activist. I have done it as a journalist. I have done it for years and years and years and years. And these carpetbaggers come into Mexico, to my ancestors' country, and all they do is destroy and lie. And frankly, I am not going to allow that. So I am exposing them. I don't care if you're a Nazi on the right or a crazy elitist hippie, documentarian on the left. I don't care if you just carpetbagged your way into this situation from France or from Guam. I don't care. I am going to expose you to the authorities and show people how you are defrauding and misleading the public. You do not get to exploit issues for fame or fortune or for your political agenda. And believe me, Mr. McLean he's connected to the top. He is the cherry on top of the bullpucky pie. Okay? When you start seeing people like him floating around, you need to start looking for Congress members, people from Hollywood to pop out, like they did at Standing Rock, Shailene Woodley, Dr. West. You need to be expecting TYT's Cenk Uygur to show up. Oh, wait, they're already there. You need to start looking for the Winnie Wongs, the Desiree Kane, the Maggie Days. Okay, the people at the very top of this poop pie to show up, and they are, because they come in for the kill. They come in for the grenades and the all of that. So that's exactly what they're amping up, folks, because Doug McLean is there to document when the poop hits the fan, and he is the poop, and he is the fan. Here's his latest video. Check it out.
Hi, just going live here from the wall. We just witnessed a few people walking along the wall, trying to cross the wall. This is at Tijuana, and very bizarrely, a big fog has just rolled in. So I'm just going to show you some of the no man's land. People try and cross at various points along the wall here in Tijuana. We did just witness, some people walking along the wall, and some people may have actually done some sort of a crawl under, and it's a daily occurrence, people fighting for their lives, running for their lives, trying to seek asylum from various forms of horror in their lives. So I'm going to show you a little bit here. You can see behind me, up in the shadows there, yeah, not really a nice sunset. These are all the 24-hour lights for securing along the wall here. So I'm going to turn it around so you can get a better view at the front of the camera, so you're not looking at me, but I will talk you through it. So here's the wall. All those lights are 24-hour surveillance lights that are run here. Up there you can see a couple of headlights in the fog, and that's a CPB vehicle. Customs and Border Patrol, they just sit there and wait for people to try and cross, and then they nab them. And this is like Standing Rock, but all the time. This is razor wire city. Somebody's made a lot of money selling razor wire out here in Tijuana. I'm gonna walk you up to the wall to just like a couple of holes through, and show you a view of what's through the wall. Here comes CPB now. They're just like going by on the other side. I'm gonna get you through to the wall and show you them going by. I think this is just like, I'm standing here looking at this razor wire, and I'm thinking all those pictures of Christ for those Christian Americans there, and with a crown of thorns, and I'm thinking somebody could come up with a bit of a digital art piece, which is a crown of razor wire. This is America, folks. This is the border of America. This is what we're participating in. This is here. This part of the wall is nothing new. This is a fence. This is real. This is America trying to keep people out from decades of oppression. This is the president. This is capitalist America. This is corporatized America. This is corporatocracy at work. You know, a week before coming here, I was in New York City, and 3 people got arrested locking down a Chase bank to protest the private money that is made from detention centers off of people's pain. And they come and they come to America, and then the first thing that happens if they actually seek asylum is that they are required by American law now to be detained. That was something that was instituted actually by Bill Clinton, I believe, but it's been carried out ever since. And so if they actually come and under international law, they're allowed to come to America and seek asylum. They're allowed, once you're on American soil, you can seek asylum, and that's guaranteed by the Constitution, and it's guaranteed by international law.
So you hear him, he repeats the same thing over and over again. Now, he titled this video No Man's Land.
Yeah.
What is No Man's Land, Duke? Do you know what that reference is from?
No, I've heard it before, but it's like, I'm really not sure what the actual historical reference is.
It's from World War I.
Oh.
And it is the term used by soldiers to describe the ground between 2 opposing trenches. Its width along the Western Front could vary a great deal. The average distance in most sectors was about 250 yards. Now, oops, sorry, I have to go back here. No Man's Land is the unoccupied and disputed area between 2 parties also. So it's called No Man's Land because the open territory between Allied and German trenches was called No Man's Land because a frightened horse racing through a trench line in No Man's Land could easily get entangled in the paraphernalia like the concertina wire and stuff, which men use to harm each other in war. That's what he is trying to conjure in your mind.
Oh, yeah.
And what do you think that is a coincidence, given the fact that they brought and will bring soldiers, or veterans, I should say, to all of this? They're very involved with Veteranos por la Paz, Veterans for Peace, the chapter in California, which includes veterans that have been deported out of the United States into Mexico and have been exiled there. Some for decades, some more recently, which have been called upon to go and protect this group of caravan goers from the Mexican authorities. The Mexican authorities are offering asylum, jobs, care, comfort, and hospitality to this caravan. And these people, these organizers, these people that are trying to misinform you, want to set them against each other, which is why they are saying Mexico and the United States is who they need to protect these caravan goers from. Don't believe it. They are putting information, or should I say misinformation, out there for their own agenda. Doug McLean is a person that has promoted Arvol Looking Horse, the some people call fake shaman from Standing Rock, who also invited the rapist Red Wolf Pope to the big veteran event that I showed you, led by Wes Clark Jr. Here's a quote that Doug McLean posted on his page. Could you read that stuff, Hannah?
We warned that one day you would not be able to control what you have created. That day is here. Chief Arvol Looking Horse. That's
the quote that he is sharing of Arvol Looking Horse.
Yes.
One of the people that was working directly with the elders, the spiritual elders, and the people that were involved in the Veterans Stand for Standing Rock, that left veterans stranded at Standing Rock, and that lied to people, that kept money, millions of dollars. And who else is tagged in this? Because these are all people who are his friends. Well, I'm going to point out some of the big ones, okay?
Yeah.
Chelsea Lyons Kent.
Oh, yeah.
What is she involved with?
Well, she's a rapist.
Yep. Carly Hammond's rapist. One of them.
Yeah.
How about Holyoke Lafferty?
Yeah.
Tell me about her.
Oh, working with the Water Protector Legal Collective.
Yes, but she was also working with Mulaney on the evacuation.
Oh, yeah.
Mulaney Stoneman, the kidnapper of Mary Trujillo, that was working with her directly at the ends of the camps. Mulaney Stoneman that took an innocent woman and made false accusations against her with the help of Christina Hollenbeck, the Nexus Billionaire Wealth connected white lady who's still working with these folks, and who was doing missing and murdered stuff. She was dating Angelo Sison. That was the guy that started the Wolves Den, where Chelsea Lyons Kent was at. You also have Jonathan Klett. That's Maggie's
film boy,
helper, documentarian dude. Laurie Woodley. He's friends with Laurie Woodley.
Yeah.
That's Shailene Woodley, the actress's mom.
Oh,
He's friends with her on Facebook. Who else do we got on here? Josh Fox.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Film producer, Gasland 1, 2, and big long-winded title of the third movie.
Promoted by Wes. Promoted by Seven McDonald.
Yeah, works with Myron Dewey and another big faker.
Spion. Who's William Hawk? Well, he's one of the people that started Indigenous Life Movement, the platform on which they all are live streaming. And also, who is connected to Mulaney Stoneman?
Yeah.
William Hawk, who is connected to going to Burning Man with all the people that sold ceremony there. Who else is here?
Oh, Winia Locke.
Winia Locke.
Yep, faker.
Yep. How about Frances Fisher?
Oh, okay.
The baby mama of Clint Eastwood. They have a child together, Hollywood.
Yep.
Well, I don't want to say she's a Hollywood star. She's more of a Hollywood has been.
Yeah.
Well, I think that this is why she is working on her political career more so now than her, Hollywood career, because she really, she's trying to be a lot like her friend and protege, what's her name? Vietnam actress.
Oh, Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda. Yes. What do they call her? Vietnam Jane?
Yes, Hanoi Jane.
Hanoi Jane. They called her Hanoi Jane. So these people want to catapult themselves not just as Hollywood stars, but as humanitarian heroes. And they're going to use their powers of Hollywooding and their celebrity status and friends to promote things that they feel are important, that they feel are worthy. Well, there's James Spion, the other guy that was in the Awake movie. He was one of the people with Myron Dewey that made that horrible movie. Yep. Dan Nimkin. There's Myron Dewey. Dan Nimkin was the guy that I showed you was selling ceremony out at Burning Man.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Susie Desba. Who's that?
She got shot in the eye, and she also just recently been out to Tijuana looking for missing people, missing family members.
That's what she claims.
She claims she had some flyers that she took down there and were trying to distribute, and spent a day or two doing a few live streams, and then took off and went who knows where.
Johnny Dangers.
Oh yeah, that guy. Wasn't he somebody else too? He's one of the live streamers from Standing Rock. Always had his camera working.
Desiree Kane.
Oh yeah, Desiree Kane.
I think Johnny Dangers is it's not Rebel HQ, it's the other one.
Yeah.
Renegade Media.
Renegade Media. That's what it is, yeah.
And isn't he? Somebody's got to tell me.
Yeah, I forget. He's also another poser. Poses as another guy. He's two people in one.
Jacelyn Charchers.
Yep.
Is one of the young people that was in the runs at the beginning of Standing Rock.
Okay.
We interviewed her. Same day we interviewed Dan and Nimkin. Desiree Kane, Pretend Indian. Pretendian.
And a whole Standing Rock Sioux tribe.
And the whole Standing Rock Sioux tribe, right?
Yep.
Let me go to the next one here. This is him promoting political figures that have recently, through Jenk's organization, he started Justice Democrats, gotten elected, and are now holding office. And many of whom had their start at Standing Rock, like Ocasio-Cortez, whose origin story, you can look this up for yourselves, includes her wandering the country in a car with a friend, ending up at Standing Rock, going into a wigwam, that's what she called it, in a sweat for all women, and waking up the next day after being asked whether or not she would run and for political office, why she had to say yes.
Oh, yes, yes. It was
that
amazing.
Was her origin story.
It was amazing revelation.
I want you to tell me some of the people. I want you to see all the people politically that this man has as friends, and who he is tagging, who are organizers at very high levels of nonprofits, organizations, NGOs, politics, and power in Hollywood, etc. I want you to read through that list.
Okay, Women's March, Rosario Dawson, Madonna Cher, 1 million
That's Maggie's friend.
Oh.
That's Seven McDonald's friend.
Okay.
Rosario Dawson was also part of the group of people that, travels around and goes to all these different campaigns I've showed you.
Yep. Osprey, O'Reilly Lake, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, of course.
He knows her. They're friends.
Pugliese. We've heard that name
is
before. I forget. I'm mixing some of these people up.
She was living with LaDonna.
Oh, that's
Women
right.
Indigenous Media.
Yeah.
Went to Hawaii after the whole thing with all of them.
That's right. Holyoke Lafferty again. Cheryl Angel, Ann Kentz, Susie Deba. We just talked about her. Rachel Marco Havens, Monica Huken, Regina Brave. Oh, yes, we know Regina. And, Grandma Regina. Desiree Kane, the fake Indian. Waste Win Young, Joe Dodds, Sue Andrew, Cassandra Begay. Oh, yeah, her name's come up. Haven't seen it for a while. LaDonna herself, Allard. Kim Frasick, Anna Leonard, Omar for Congress, Cher. You're talking about Cher, the singer? Who knows?
Well, she's right next to Lori Woodley, the mother of Shailene Woodley, the actress.
Yeah, kind of putting that.
He's friends with Ilhan Omar, the new member of Congress from Minnesota.
Yeah. Wow. Frances Fisher's in there again.
Tara Houska.
Tara Houska.
Yeah, she's with the WPLC. She was at Red Warrior Camp.
Yeah.
She was doing those talks with The Intercept.
Oh, yeah.
Those roundtables with The Intercept.
Oh, yeah. And Bernie Sanders.
Sherry Foytlin is associated with the Asylum Seekers Caravan Support Network.
Yep. And the people for Bernie Sanders. 1 million women. Democracy Now, of course.
Yes.
Women's March.
The people for Bernie Sanders is the page.
Yeah.
That Desiree Kane was on with that other woman whose name I'm blanking on right now. What was her name?
I don't know.
The one that recently in the reveal show where I showed Washday Wee Young calling out Desiree Kane, and she was one of the women on there that was saying, "I have a lot of stories about her. I have thought about writing up these stories about how this pretendian was taking the place of a real indigenous woman." And, I said on that show, yeah, you would know because you were one of the people promoting her.
Exactly.
On the People for Bernie page that had its like millions of people, millions of followers. I told you. Christine Nobis.
Yep. Got it.
She's the one that runs that page. She's one of the ones that run that page. Remember, Tara Houska also was working for Bernie. I showed you that she talked about that on my last show when I talked about Washday Wee Young calling out Desiree Kane. If y'all have been missing my shows, you got to go back and watch them.
That's right.
It's the only way you learn, right?
It's like doing algebra class. You miss one day, you don't know what's happening the next.
I know. And look, I'm dedicated. I'm so devoted to getting the news to you, to getting you this information. I will do a show while I am sick. My throat right now feels like a little bit like it's on fire, but I don't care because I want you to know the truth. So here I am. Burning Man isn't just for Lollybee.
Yeah.
Doug McLean likes to go too.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
This is from this year. He was just there. A bunch of people went to Burning Man again. This man, Doug McLean, who wants to spread good cheer and goodwill to all mankind, does so physically by traveling around the world 24/7. He could be in Tijuana today, and he could be in Paris tomorrow. Because that's how he rolls. Just like the French guy that comes from the Guggenheim wealth, or Myron Dewey, or Evan Duke, or Lally B. All of them come from inherited wealth. Most of them don't have an idea of what it's like to live in poverty or have anything in common with the people that they're speaking for in the caravan. And all they keep doing is repeating the taglines of liberals at conservatives as if they're having a direct discussion with them when all that they are doing is serving the same interests. They are working with people like Jill Stein, who we know the Russians manipulated in their campaign to try to help Trump get elected. So if these people are associated with the very people getting helped by Russia, manipulated by Russia, Jill Stein and her campaign, Bernie Sanders and his too, all these people are being investigated for their interference and association with the Russians. I told you Christina Hollenbeck appeared as a medic, which she's not, on Russian television, reporting from Standing Rock one day after she appeared, and that her billionaire wealth club Nexus, tied to Marianne Thompson Frank, who's also been supporting and funding all of this nonsense, all of those people are manipulative, are lying, are defrauding folks, and are using them and exploiting them for political gain and for their own interests just as much as the right, just as much as Republicans, and to the detriment of the people they're exploiting just as much as racism is, just as much as the harmful effects of these bad border policies. They're exploiting the issue, and they're exploiting your feelings about the issue. It doesn't even matter what side you're on, because they serve riches, wealth, oligarchs, power, and themselves only. Only. Do you really believe that a guy that goes to Burning Man like that, that celebrates with the wealthy, that is constantly traveling, really understands and is the best spokesperson for the poorest people from Central America?
No.
Hell to the no! Okay, now I want you to see his other media connections. Here's Democracy Now!, because he's friends with them too. And then here is him talking about the caravan. Now, before I get to this next slide, I just want to remind you the dizzying number of names this caravan has had.
Oh, yeah.
First, they were the migrant caravan. Then, people from this group of phonies that are messaging and branding this caravan are like, the eagle and the condor prophecy. We're here to fulfill an Indian prophecy. Next, while Myron and others are saying, we don't condone all this religious crap. Because the Mexican religious groups that are coming and helping the caravan, that are from many of the different religious backgrounds that the caravan goers are also part of, have been out there providing humanitarian aid and support to the caravan all along its route. And that bothers these folks that want to manipulate and exploit the caravan for their own purposes. So they were like, yeah, we don't have nothing to do with any of that religious stuff. We don't condone that. You heard Myron say that.
Oh, yeah, he sure did.
While he called the caravan the 12th tribe of Israel.
Oh, yes.
The lost tribe of Israel. Sick.
Yep.
These people are sick. And they also were then called the Asylum Seekers, which is why Evan Duke started the Asylum Seekers Caravan Support Network.
Okay.
Don't you dare call them the caravan anymore. They are not a caravan, even though that's what they labeled themselves as at the beginning. But no, they're not the caravan. You call them Asylum Seekers because they're all seeking asylum. And that was the message. They're all seeking asylum. These people aren't here because they want to be. They're fleeing from violence. Doug has been telling you, look at them run. They're running from the violence. Right. They're running for their lives. Their hair is on fire. The earth is about to explode.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy is on something. So there's a message behind everything that they're constantly telling you. And then the asylum seekers have become the Exodus.
Oh,
wait, we're going back to biblical terms?
Yep, back to the Bible.
Why would that be? Oh, wait, I'll tell you in a minute why that would be. Because there's a reason. All of it has to do with their marketing and the timing of when they're rolling out their new message, their new agenda, their new plan. Yep. Okay? A lot of these are not landing very well, but they don't care. They march forward. Here is what he is calling it now.
Let's see.
Inside the main Exodus.
Caravan camp, Baratal, Tijuana, Mexico. Burning fossil fuels anywhere causes climate chaos everywhere, including climate change, fueled extreme weather that causes climate refugees.
Yep, that's it.
They're climate refugees. The climate impact of CO2 is the main driver in the Hondurans coming to the U.S. border.
What?
I've seen this on bunches of his posts.
Yeah.
You know, that he's talking about this is all about CO2 emissions. And I thought, oh, I have not heard a single person that's been in interviews saying I have left the country because of the emissions and the environment. They talk about the social conditions, you know, the lack of employment, being poor, being in danger, all sorts of things. I've yet to hear one person mention climate as the issue, except when they're in Tijuana where it's colder. They talk about climate because it's 50 degrees and not used to 50 degrees. So I've seen this on many of his posts that he's trying to push this in the Asylum Seekers Network, Caravan, whatever it's called, on their page. He has post after post after post trying to send this message.
Can you scroll down to the bottom and read what it says all the way at the bottom with his hashtags?
Sure can.
And comment?
Sure. You know, and then, of course, water is life. And then translating to Spanish. Inside the main Exodus Caravan camp. Hashtag CO2 knows no border. Hashtag no human being is illegal. You know, which I agree with. Hashtag no one is illegal. No one is illegal on stolen land. Next one is Sanctuary Caravan. New Sanctuary Coalition. And Democracy Now.
So he tagged Sanctuary Caravan, New Sanctuary Coalition, and Democracy Now. I wonder if we'll be seeing Democracy Now in Mexico.
Probably, yeah.
Or we'll be seeing
they're getting invites.
Some of these phonies getting invited onto that news platform and legitimized by Amy Goodman, which
definitely.
she has been doing for a very long time.
Oh, yeah, for a long time.
That's what she's about.
And she needs to up that ante now, you know.
And here is his post with Adam Elfers.
Oh.
This standing rock phony and musician has been out there exploiting the caravan as well. And then later he will be putting out his new album of crappy songs that you can go and buy, and or you can go to one of his hippie revivals similar to Burning Man, but at a discount rate, because he holds those all the time, and you can go and worship him.
Wow.
After he leaves here.
That's
what these folks are doing.
Wow.
That is the truth. They're exploiting. There are people on the left, and so because a lot of people know that I am a person that promotes what a lot of folks consider progressive issues, or people want to pigeonhole me as a Democrat.
Yeah.
And frankly, it's none of your business who I vote for and don't vote for. But you can think whatever you want of my reporting. I am trying to be very transparent and give you all the facts so that you can investigate these things for yourself. I don't like racism. I've exposed racism. I go after people that are racist, so much so that people on the right hate me and think that I am extreme
Yeah.
for my position. But just as incredible, I have people on the left that hate me and think that I am a self-loathing Mexican and a racist because I expose people on the left as well as people on the right. And I go as hard on either side. Believe that. Plus, those that know me know exactly how I work. They're like, all of the conservatives in this area absolutely hate me.
Oh.
They do. You know they do, honey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Remember Rob Port? He told people that he would never appear on the same television show as me because I embarrassed him.
Yep.
And I embarrassed him badly.
Oh, definitely.
I put that dog down so hard. He was like, never again.
Yep. Remember Rob Port's worked with Myron Dewey, you know.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, he was a reporter that was actually covering Standing Rock stuff and casting Standing Rock in a negative light. And, of course, he was working directly with Dewey.
He was working directly with the police in
Yep.
Morton County, too. These folks on the left, at the top echelons of Indian issues, of people of color issues, of police brutality issues, of queer issues, they are wolves in sheep's clothing. They're speaking for people as Indians when they're not. They are standing up for or leading the cause of and building up funding for organizations that are supposedly, purportedly for the causes and issues that they claim when they're not, all the while exploiting the latest hurricane, human crisis, march, campaign, protest. Wherever they know that your heart and your dollars are invested, that is where they will come to disaster vulture the situation, to, vampire suck out everything that they can from the situation. And no matter what I am told about the intentions and the good feelings behind what these people purport that they want to do, what they actually have been doing and supporting is criminal, is dangerous, is appropriative, is exploitative. So I don't see how that's different from the same kind of horrible things you are accusing people on the right who are racist of doing in these situations. Everyone has to come with clean hands. Your hands are just dirty in a different way. And let me show you what else he is connected to. Here's him and the whole gang of people that he was hanging out with. Among them, as you can see, is Laura Christina Livingston-Berger.
Yeah, a.k.a.
Lolly B.
Yep.
Burner Lolly B, who Lolly B's with he. And then you have Adam Elfers, white hippie from Ohio, Standing Rock, pretend Indian dude.
Oh, yeah.
And who else we got there, Duke?
Let's
Read it
see.
for me.
Yeah, let me make it a little bigger so I can read it. Vivian Famery, Corbano Surfco, Jake Lee, Adam Elfers, Lolly B Healing, LLC, or her whole organization's there, I see. Katrina Caravas and Kenny Koromoto in Tijuana, Baja California. And I think there's some people that are unnamed there. And of course, there's McLean right there, his big head straight in the center.
Okay, now, next I want to show you who else this guy was connected to at Standing Rock. Lest you forget. Here he is, Minnie Michoni. On John Gonzalez's page, he's tagged. The guy playing the guitar is Naco Bear. You've got John Gonzalez, Standing Bear, or whatever his name is, all the way on the left. Right in the middle, in front, behind the little girl, you've got Mama LaDonna.
Oh, yeah.
LaDonna Allard, the Native American lady who made the call out with her fake crocodile tears on social media, begging people to come to a protest she was going to end the whole time.
Yeah.
She was going to exploit the whole time. And that she was going to sell out her people from the entire time. Not to mention get people arrested and injured, all of which she has never had to be held accountable for.
Yep.
And all the way to the right with the white hat on is Doug McLean.
Ah.
With her fist in the air, almost looking like she is about to punch McLean in the hand,
Yeah.
is Lolly B.
Oh, yeah. There she is again.
There she is again. These people travel together. They hang out. It's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They pretend Indian together.
Yep.
He recently, Doug McLean, posted he was heading to Tijuana. So on December 14th, right?
Yep. I'm headed there now.
Tags who?
No human beings illegal in a new sanctuary coalition.
Mm-hmm. He wants you to see that.
Oh, yeah.
That organization. It's important. Next, I want to show you who else he's exploiting.
Oh,
he's
yeah?
exploiting the death of the little girl
Yep.
that was in the article that you just mentioned. Could you read this for me?
Yeah, Jacqueline May Rosemary Call Macwin. Say her name. Justice for Jacqueline. 90 minutes past. Jacqueline. 90 minutes passed before she was given medical attention.
It's actually pronounced Jacqueline.
Jacqueline.
Amei
Okay, say your name. Jacqueline.
Rosemary Cal Makin.
Jacqueline died of dehydration and shock. This little girl from Guatemala was only 7 years old when she died in U.S. Border Patrol custody. Her family were from the region of Alta Verapaz. Her first language was Quechua, which is an indigenous language. The humanitarian group No More Deaths has posted videos showing border agents destroying the gallons of water as their volunteers leave in the desert for dehydrated migrants. To read more, go to this NBC News link. Say your name. Her death was senseless. We cannot continue to have such apathy towards each other as human beings, regardless of race or border. The new Sanctuary Coalition.
I believe her and her family speak Quiche.
Quiche.
Quiche is how you say the name of the language.
Okay.
But see, Doug doesn't care about any of that. None of that really matters to him. Nor does the death of Jacqueline really matter to these folks. They're exploiting her death. They're wearing her death.
Mm-hmm.
Just like they wear Indian garb to try to pass themselves off as pretendians.
Mm-hmm.
They do it so that they can exploit and speak on behalf of people they don't represent, they don't look like, and they could never understand. That's hijacking an issue of people of color that should be led by the most affected people. But that's not happening because these people are speaking for them instead. From their elitist, rich, white people, European perspective, colonist perspective, imperialist perspective, capitalist perspective, for their own personal gain. And Lolly and all of these people I've shown you who are very rich are the same. So they self-promote and they also promote each other. It's like an echo chamber of bull beep.
Mm-hmm.
There's Doug McLean on his page promoting Adam Elfers.
Oh, yeah.
And Birdie Gutierrez.
Mm-hmm.
And who else?
Lolly B. Vivian Farmery.
We've shown her on our
Oh,
show
yeah.
before.
Rodrigo. Katrina Caravas. And Kel Kuramoto, which we just saw in the other post. And this is posted on
There is
his
Lolly
page.
B
Yep.
with her Mexican embroidered shirt, trying to pretend Mexican.
Oh, yeah.
With her little flute, pretend Indianing.
Mm-hmm.
All while doing what? Can you please read what the hell they were doing at the border wall with these two other white ladies also pretending Indianing?
Sunrise meditation at U.S.-Mexico wall. Join us as we sing and sage for world something. Build bridges together. We are transforming. Can't read behind.
Okay.
You know,
So they're burning sage because they're spiritual leaders now?
I guess.
Is she a high priestess like Marianne Thompson Frank?
I think so. I went to one of her seminars at the Manamana.
Okay. And then there is the connection to Mulaney Stoneman.
yes.
Lest you forget Mulaney Stoneman, the kidnapper. There's Holy Elk Lafferty. This is a post by Raymond Kingfisher. One of the people I showed you was with Christina Hollenbeck and all of these Standing Rock phonies that were directly involved in framing a Lakota elder.
Yep.
Kathleen Bennett. In a case I investigated 2 years ago, a woman we exonerated and rejoined with a woman that Kathleen Bennett was separated from and who Mulaney and Christina Hollenbeck kidnapped from her. Her mother, Mary Trujillo. Here is Doug McLean promoting both of these women, Holyoke Lafferty and Mulaney, at the closing of camps.
Yep.
At the Dakota Access Pipeline protest. There's that guy that
Yep.
what was his name? Oh, he didn't make it in the shot.
I see.
Okay. I thought they were negotiating with the governor's dude.
Oh.
Okay, next I want to show you what kinds of things Doug was doing promoting at Standing Rock. Can you please read that?
Yeah, let me make it.
Please describe the picture first, because I don't think
Well,
people
this is,
can see very good what it is.
Oh, yeah. Also, if you're on the radio listening, it shows the November 20th at Standing Rock 2 years ago, where there was pepper spray and there was water cannons, and it was like 18 degrees above zero, and people at the bridge doing this protest and confrontation with law enforcement doing a lot of things that were hurting people. And it's Doug McLean, and this is November 20th, 2016. Breaking, this ain't no disco. Horrific irony is the corporate police state using hypothermia, introducing water against peaceful, prayerful, unarmed water protectors. It's below freezing at about 27 degrees. Getting soaked by their water cannons can mean serious loss of body temperature. Add to that, police are tear gassing no DAPL water protectors using the LRAD Stinger grenades and firing less lethal rounds into the crowd, often at point blank range on Highway 1806 bridge in North Dakota. One of our reporters had their press badge shot off when shot in the abdomen with a rubber bullet. Police have formed a line with armored vehicles, concrete barriers, and razor wire. It's 27 degrees, and police have begun hosing down the unarmed crowd with water cannon. Water protectors are using semi-truck in an attempt to remove the burnt military vehicles, which the police chained to the concrete barriers weeks ago to keep the bridge blockaded. An 1806 update soon. And then he did a Gulf War II Talking Heads official at Standing Rock Indian Reservation. We've covered this quite a bit. It was a really bad deal, but also it was something that was really instigated, and it wasn't as innocent as it sounds. And there was a lot of people made their fame from this night. It's their claim to fame. They were Standing Rock. They were on the bridge. Actually, we were there that day, but we didn't go up to the bridge, But when that was happening, I wasn't about to rush up there. But we did triage and many other things. And, but we've covered this quite a bit. We covered it very earnestly and seriously. But we've also exposed a lot of phonies that were part of this. And we've unraveled some things that have put a lot more sense to it. Doing this and posting this about Tijuana, they're going to try to make this sort of thing happen. I believe. They are trying to make the same thing happen that happened at Standing Rock, to push the military to take action, putting people in danger, sending people through these holes in the fence, filming people as they get picked up, telling them lies that they can just run over there and claim asylum because the law says so and the Constitution protects them, when there's a lot of other things they could be doing if they really wanted to help people. And they're just putting people in danger. They're trying to stage. I wouldn't be surprised if there'd be some fires burning soon right at the wall to create that backdrop so they can actually get people so inflamed.
And most of the people that were up there antagonizing the police were white people like Ed Higgins.
Yeah.
Were people that were connected, like Maggie Day. She was out there. She sent me her pictures. She was right up front. These people were out there instigating violence against others who they didn't care. They didn't care what would happen to them. And many of the Indian people that they got to go along with these cockamamie plans that they put into danger, like Susie Desba, like Marcus Mitchell, knew that they could hold it over their heads forever. So now they are intertwined as family forever.
Yeah.
Because they all got dirt on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus Mitchell, anytime he wanted to, put somebody under the spotlight, put somebody in a pinch, he starts saying to his WPLC people, or he would start saying to the world on live streams, hey, I need some help. I'm going to need somebody's help now because I don't have anybody helping me. And I'm not like all these other people that were just flying around the country and getting free meals and going to fancy marches. I was one of the water protectors, and that was their message to the world. I'm about to spill some beans, so somebody better put some money in my PayPal.
Mm-hmm.
You get my drift?
Yeah.
And these upper echelon elite people are constantly having to put money and also support behind these phonies, no matter what crimes they commit, no matter how many times they're caught out, because it's what they've signed up for, signed on to, and now they're going to take it to the limit. Doug also fancies himself an activist. Here's a post from his page. Could you read that, honey?
Yes, activism is my rent for living on the planet. Quote from Alice Walker. And Doug McLean, let's see what he says here. He says, he posted September 12th, 2016, People before pipelines, no dabble, in Washington, District of Columbia. So
this was recent.
Yes.
He also has done promotion of energy policy. Remember, that's what this is really about for them. In addition to politics, this is about pushing a political agenda and a policy agenda for green energy, which they want people in America and in government to invest in so they can line their pockets, because those are the people that they are aligned with. At the Nexus Group, with Wes Clark and his daddy, General Clark, all of these people, they have been working on this nonsense along with the green energy deal, the new green energy deal by Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh, yeah.
Helped to get elected with Justice Democrat Cenk Uygur started organization, right?
Right.
This is about money for them. And they're going to turn any situation from Standing Rock to whatever the hell into a Green New Deal.
Yep.
They're going to turn it into that. It's going to become part of that. That's what they're fighting for. Here is Doug doing a Sane Energy Project video.
Yep.
I rise for community solar because fossil fuels will flood New York City.
End of net metering.
Rise
for climate and jobs justice, Thursday, September 6th.
Yes. All of these Rise events are associated with Desiree King.
I see.
And you know what? These other organizations like New Sanctuary probably are also all associated with pretend Indian Desiree Kane that was also hired by the tribe at Standing Rock. I showed you that recently Wash Stay We Young was throwing Desiree Kane under the bus and some other indigenous journalists, and they were having a very public feud, which they immediately took offline. Tara Houska was involved. All sorts of the people. Madonna was in there. Ooh. Ooh. Go back and check it out. I showed you all the receipts, but they was all working together all along. And they probably still are. Here is how Doug feels about refugees in other countries affected by United States policy and by United States war.
If you don't like refugees coming to your country, then stop voting for politicians who love to bomb the blank out of other countries. And then this was posted on
These are Doug McLean's own words that
Yep.
he is saying. He claims he's making this post about and to Trump supporters.
Oh.
And he uses a curse word to address
Yep.
Americans,
Mm-hmm.
which he calls by another name, including an expletive.
Yep.
And then he says what in his post?
He says, "Dear dumb beeps, otherwise known as those good folks that supposedly love Christ or other sacred gods, but love guns, whiteness, greed, genocide." I can't read that word, it's too small. Ecocide, oil, coal, gas, war, money, corporations, etc. More. This one's for you. Impeach, imprison, fake president, corporatocracy in Washington, District of Columbia.
So, Doug McLean, an elite, a rich man, a white man from the left progressive side, refers to people on the right, as he described them, that are Christians, that are behind energy policy that is built off of coal or oil. And then he goes all like tree hugger about the eco side.
Yep.
And here's a guy that cannot relate to any of the people of color mostly affected by issues that he is harping on. And yet he is throwing shade in the most explicit possible way on people he considers to be on the right. I can understand why people that are conservative Republicans hate people like this.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
So condescending, but also just incredibly divisive. It's like, it's not even intelligent. You have no position and you have nothing to say. You are not better than the people you are pointing your finger at. You really don't know anything about what's happening in Mexico or to this caravan. And you are astroturfing an issue that does not belong to you.
True.
You are imperialist, you are colonizing, and you are racist as the people that you keep pointing your finger at and saying are your enemies and the enemies of what you are working toward. And really, most of what these folks do plays right into the hands of those on the far right.
Yeah.
They really, really do.
Yeah.
I've shown you how they do. It's really disturbing to watch them both be the perfect storm under which this crisis is created, funded and organized by them, and then come and be the white saviors of it and give themselves pats on the back and prizes for the poop storm they created.
Exactly.
And for the danger that they put people in. But they also are involved in people's political campaigns. So they're constantly running candidates, supporting campaigns, and getting people elected. Here's evidence of that. Here he is with Zephyr Teachout. You can see behind her there are some posters for her political campaign.
Yep.
There's Doug McLean. And here he is with someone you might recognize very recently. There's Washte Wee Young. That's Phyllis Young's daughter from Standing Rock. There's Doug McLean. And this photo was taken on November 19.
Oh, wow.
Last month at Le Monde Bar and Restaurant. And next to him is none other than Nexus Billionaire Wealth, Christina Hollenbeck. The woman that collected false
Yep, the kingpin
claims.
of the Kathleen Bennett frame up.
Yes, she's the person that collected all of those false statements that were given to police that framed an innocent woman and put this innocent Lakota elder in jail for 6 months for no reason. She then appeared on Russian television news the day after she arrived and started working with Wes Clark Jr. of the Veterans Stand for Standing Rock, the guy that worked at TYT with Cenk Uygur. This woman appeared on Russian television, identified as a medic, which she wasn't, just like Mulaney, who also was not a medic.
Yeah.
And she was pretending that she was rescuing people on November 20th, which Doug McLean was promoting on his page a moment ago.
That's right.
And she then went on to get an award at the UN by Marianne Thompson Frank, the billionaire lady of the 7-Eleven fortune and was it called Sunco companies that own 50% of the petroleum refining in America.
Yep, exactly.
These are people that are connected to pipelines, to petroleum directly, to alt-right, to all of those things directly, to Russia and Russian funding. And yet, that's who Doug McLean is hanging out with. People known to have been doing criming. And next to them is none other than Sophia Wolanski, the woman that had her arm blown off. And here she is with Doug again on another day, November 23rd, next to Winona LaDuke of Honor the Earth and the person that was supporting Freshit, the legal organization that was supposed to help people. They were just together last month.
Wow.
They are Earth Guardians. They are sisters. These are his sisters. They are brothers and sisters. They are family. Sophia Wolanski was accused of, together with other so-called water protectors, throwing different kinds of canisters at police, and that they had blown off accidentally, albeit accidentally, part of Sophia Wolanski's arm, which she had a lot of reconstructive surgery to repair. Sophia Wolanski was being investigated by the FBI. Her father, a lawyer, vowed that he would sue Morton County and the police for violations of her human rights, for nearly killing his daughter and blowing off almost her arm. All of this, I haven't heard updates on whether any of that has happened. So did Susie Desba, the person that got her eye supposedly shot out. So did Marcus Mitchell. We heard these people are going to take them to court. They're going to get justice. Something is going to be done about it. Here's Doug McLean promoting that lawsuit. Check it out for yourselves. What does it say?
The civil and human rights class action lawsuit against Morton County Sheriff's Department and others.
Who's tagged?
He's tagged.
Who's tagged?
Jay Ponte.
Jay Ponte.
So he's a Joy Brunn.
Joy Brunn of the Indigenous Environmental Network.
Ernesto Burbank.
Of Relatives in Prayer.
Mercedes.
And the Flint
Flophouse. Yeah.
Then
Jordan Sheridan.
Jordan Sheridan, the rapist.
Yeah.
Of Carly Hammond, along with
Francis Fisher,
the baby mama with Clint Eastwood. Francis Fisher, the Hollywood actress Francis Fisher.
Yeah, Desiree Kane.
Pretend Indian Desiree Kane. Pretend Miwok Indian hired by this Standing Rock Sioux tribe.
And Doug McLean, of course, Phyllis Young.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Okay, next. Here we have that tag of Francis Fisher. I just wanted you to see it's not some other Francis Fisher that just happens to have the same name. That's the actress Francis Fisher. And she's friend with DJ Two Bears.
Oh, yeah.
Friends with, who's related to Last Real Indians, Chase Iron Eyes, and Cody Two Bears, who sat on the council during Standing Rock.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And the protest. What do we got next?
We have Nicole.
And Nicole Ramos is with Al Otro Lado, one of the organizations over there that I told you is being posted in Asylum Seekers Caravan Support Network. And if you scroll up, you can see her picture there in a video that that was also promoted by Doug McLean. The same video is on Asylum Seekers page. You can find it there. I've told you a little bit about her. I will tell you more moving forward. Next, you will see there is a tag again of New Sanctuary Coalition. They keep tagging New Sanctuary Coalition and spreading their information, their propaganda. And here is New Sanctuary Coalition. And this is a recent video of the clergy. As you saw, there was a bunch of clergy got arrested. They showed up on the American side, and they were at the beach at the fence, and they confronted Border Patrol agents and, basically forced an arrest. This is one of their, tactics, is going and getting arrested and making a big deal, trying to make the police look and seem as if they're inhumane and but they're really provoking these situations. They want to use those situations for propaganda.
Yeah.
Seriously sad that they would do that, because those issues are very real. There's already enough brutality from police, Border Patrol, ICE, all sorts of negative things that have happened, like children in cages. You don't have to make up situations to exploit people's anger about those very real issues.
Definitely.
I think it's disgusting that these people do, and that they are using it to exploit the caravan for political purposes. Here is this new sanctuary video clip of her. Not in this picture. I specifically chose this picture so that you could see she's with this new coalition group of clergy people that is involved right now.
Yeah.
Because I wanted you to see that she is working with them and al otro lado. They're all connected, as is asylum seekers, as is Pitaya Queen and the LGBTQ caravan, as is the Movimiento, what was it, the other one? Movimiento Campesino, I think it's called, and a whole bunch of the media organizations, which I've showed you, including TYT. Here is a clip of this video where all the rest of the clergy can be seen. There's another guy that was sitting in her chair.
Everybody, this is Kaji Dosha. I'm senior pastor of the Park Avenue Christian Church, and here also as co-chair of New Sanctuary. And I'm here with a number of clergy who come down as part of the faith leaders. We are here at the border and with an organization that does incredible work down here. So New Sanctuary Coalition is calling on 40 days and 40 nights of accompaniment and action at our southern border here in San Diego and Tijuana. And the goal for this time is to both draw awareness, accompaniment, and protection and support for people who are seeking asylum as part of this refugee exodus that has come to our southern border. We believe that as people of faith, it is our responsibility to be here to see what is happening, because once we see it, we're never the same.
Responsibility to get them over the border. That sounds like illegal stuff.
Yeah.
And are you going to take responsibility for people that end up dying in detention?
Yeah,
who
exactly.
End up spending months and months and months in detention centers because you promised them that you were going to get them out of there, that they were going to be able to get out on bail. Did you tell them that they could be separated from their children, maybe even deported without their family members? And are you promising to continue to follow each of their lives after you help them cross illegally? Are you going to just be in the photo op when Border Patrol beats them down, arrests them? Or are you going to just be there to document what ICE detentions do before they go in, but then forget about the people that you've got in there? Or are you just going to raise money off of them and off of their suffering once you put them in detention centers and they don't get what you promised them? You lied to them to get them all the way to Tijuana. You brought them there under false pretenses and with false hopes. And now you're literally going to drive them into the mouth of the lion.
Yeah.
Into the lion's den, into the detention centers, where, as you may all recall, one of Pitaya Queen's quarries, Roxana, a transgender woman who had AIDS, was brought by these very people that have brought people in these caravans into the United States, into a detention center where she was first tortured and then not given adequate medical care for, admittedly, AIDS, which she did not report because she would not have had an asylum claim, but which she died of complications from due to inadequate medical attention. Do you think that the leader of the LGBTQ caravan who brought her here without giving her all of the information and telling her the very real challenges and dangers that she would be facing, that she wouldn't get out right away, that the sponsors wouldn't be able to just pluck her out of the detention center and give her a brand new American life? No. And do you think they have any remorse for that woman's death? Not an iota. None. Who is more evil? The entities that you are saying are racist, violent, and abusive of migrants, of refugees, of people in this caravan, or you, the people that helped organize this crisis and put them in the hands of those people? I don't know. I think it's debatable.
Yeah.
And here is the new Sanctuary Facebook page. You can read that for me, please, Duke.
Yeah, we'll try it.
Check out the artwork.
Yeah.
It's hand-drawn artwork.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody can tell me who the artist is, I would love it.
Sanctuary Caravan, November 20th. We regard this exodus and the caravan we are building to meet the exodus as an act of nonviolent resistance against morally abhorrent laws which infringe upon the rights of human beings to better the lives of their children and families. We believe the imprisonment, deportation, and mistreatment of people because of where they were born to be the greatest moral crisis of our time. We condemn the strongest possible terms the violence of Mexican and U.S. authorities waged threatening against this movement of people engaged in their self-liberation. The violence they are feeling has been inherited from U.S. imperialism and the political pressure the U.S. places upon Mexico to treat the exodus with violence constitutes colonialism. Restrictions on migration have ruined and ended too many lives. Borders are used as weapons of mass destruction. Their brutality escalates not only because brutal force control the law, but because not enough good people resist them. Following the leadership of Caravan and, we can't say the rest, but they're calling this an exodus in this now.
Right.
The reframing of the Sanctuary Caravan. It's a Sanctuary Caravan.
Because they're with religious leaders now.
Yep.
Not the ones from Mexico, which they were rejecting previously, but their American multi-interfaith group, which they also brought to Standing Rock. Ooh, do you remember that?
I sure do.
Do you remember the interfaith clergy by the hundreds that showed up at the protest in North Dakota against this pipeline in 2016?
Yep.
Do you remember that they went and got themselves arrested by the hundreds? I do.
Yep.
Because we picked up some of those people and took them out of jail and gave them their instructions for going to court and everything. Right?
Yep.
So we saw this tactic used before, and the groups that are organizing these Sanctuary Caravan, blah, 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 and this new Sanctuary Coalition are connected to people like Linda Sarsour of the Women's March, which we know now, and which I have told you has ties to people that have funded terrorist groups like Hamas. I showed you on my show. And yet, she's working with people from the Bernie Sanders campaign. She's working with people that organized Occupy Wall Street, like Winnie Wong, who also worked on the Standing Rock protest, who's also worked with the Justice Democrats, people that are being elected to office right now. So what they have in common is that they know how to elicit your pain, elicit your dollars, to push your buttons. If you're a conservative, they know exactly what buttons to push that will put you right in line for getting the border wall, whatever their latest campaign is, that whatever their political agenda is pushing du jour. If you're on the left, all they need to do is say things like refugee crisis or some other tree hugger, lingo, whatever it is that is the current day crisis, humanitarian problem. They're on it. They're astroturfing the hell out of it. They're getting your donations and your support for their own agenda. This caravan just happens to be the item of the day. And if you've been paying attention to political polls, you know that they are polling on the daily to find out what most Americans care about the most. Why did Donald Trump campaign on the wall? Why did Donald Trump campaign about keeping the bad hombres out of his country, speaking out against Mexico, all of the nonsense that he started saying at the very beginning of his campaign? Because it was one of the most important issues to everyone in America on all sides of any political spectrum. And it still is. So they know, and they're going to use the right jargon, the right words that are going to energize their base. The people that love indigenous issues, that want to be on the right side of history with Black Lives Matter, that want to stand. And I am not trying to mock any of those values. I share them. I'm mocking the people that are exploiting your naivete on either side. And ultimately, I want you to understand they're all working together for the companies, the oligarchs, and their own political agendas. They stand for nothing. Least of all, religion. This new sanctuary coalition has a lot less to do with anybody's religious beliefs and more to do with exploiting how we view clergy and how we respect clergy in this country. You put a nun on something, you put a priest on something, you better not shoot at them. You better not. We have laws in America for immigration, which many people feel are very harsh. Even on the right, I think that when the kids went in the cages, people even on the right were like, we don't like that. That
Yeah,
can't be good.
exactly.
That can't be good. This is political suicide. But I will say this, despite that fact, you don't typically see immigration raids of churches or hospitals.
No, I used to not, but that's not true anymore.
I mean, I've said this before. It's not true anymore because they're trying to take down all of the barriers that protected people and gave people sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying to you now is that this is being used as a shield.
Yeah.
Religion will be used as a shield, just like anything else that they can get their hands on. Here is the sanctuary about us. Can you read some of that, Duke? I want you to especially read.
Hard to read these. Come on, people, do better websites with better font.
New Sanctuary springs from New York's faith-based and social justice communities and forms a unique family of citizens, immigrants, bound by love and humanity and mutual respect. Operating for a decade on less than shoestring budgets, New Sanctuary has done enormous good for the community. And what is it? Some of this.
They have stopped the forced isolation of many undocumented people by building a large accompaniment
program
in which citizens go with immigrants to mandatory ICE check-ins and immigration court hearings. That's a good thing. They provide citizen witness of ICE behavior, emotional support for immigrants, and also establishes our friends have strong ties to the local community. A fact appreciated by immigrant judges, accompaniment has proven slow and sometimes stops deportations and detention. NSC provides legal support and referrals through programs and clinics staffed by volunteer lawyers and trained lay people who spread knowledge of immigrants' rights, assist with asylum applications, advise on pro se defense, at court appearances, advocate to increase immigrants' access in detention centers to legal defense tools, faxes, copiers, etc., and much more.
Now, I have something to say about this. I want you to understand, I've been working, I'm a paralegal by trade in education. I have been working with lawyers, immigration lawyers specifically, for most of my adult life, for sure. But definitely for my entire paralegal career and continuing even through my journalistic career. And I have to say, I have to repeat that I find all of these things that are being promoted and the values and the ideas behind them are things I share in common with the people that are espousing them. The problem I have is who they are working with.
Exactly.
Because if you're going to get in bed with and work with the likes of Nicole Ramos, the likes of Doug McLean, and the people that he has worked with, the people that have been involved in framing innocent people, kidnapping elders, raping women, defrauding people online. All of the things I have been showing you are not people fit to be working with some of the most vulnerable human beings on earth, undocumented immigrants.
Exactly.
Not worthy, not righteous enough. You have no business. You have no business. And for those of you who I have impugned with some kind of, or that you feel that I have sullied you by putting you in the same show with the people you're working with, that's something you need to filter more carefully. Obviously, you need to background check the people that you're working with and have a better understanding of who you get in bed with before you get in bed with them.
Exactly.
That's on you. That is not on me. And if you feel that this is a successful partnership, then more power to you. Stop belly aching when I expose the fact that the people you've been working with have got some pretty horrible and criminal histories. Maybe.
Yeah.
And also, I want to show you the website. Here's their website. You can go check all this stuff out on your own. My concern is that these folks, as you've heard, people like Luis Monsiváis Gutierrez, also with a felony record, saying that he's been working on crossing people across the border very safely for a long time. As Myron Dewey has been asking for people to talk to different tribes and or get maps for locations for people to cross into the country legally. As Doug McLean just told you that he was at the border watching people cross under the wall illegally. As you have seen many of these other activists and live streamers following people to cross the border.
Yeah.
This is something that they could be criminally charged with, these activists, these so-called activists. And I hope that all of this information is getting to the proper authorities, both in Mexico and on the United States side. If you want to share them with law enforcement, with your friends at Border Patrol, I have with mine, and I will continue to share unsafe people around immigrants, refugees, as long as I draw breath in my body, because I don't want them to be exploited. I went to immigration to report a Latino. He was a Hispanic man. I don't know if he was Mexican, but I think he did speak Spanish. That was working back home in my hometown of Iowa, that exploited a bunch of immigrants, telling them he could get them some form of legal status in the United States, for which he bilked them out of months of their wages, which he was having them work for him undocumented, under the promise that at the end of that process they would all have visas or some kind of work papers, which he never provided. And he stole their money and he lied to them. I reported him to INS, and he went to federal. I testified against him in court, and he went to federal prison for over a decade. End scene. I don't care who you are. If you are exploiting these folks, I'm going balls to the wall after any of you to expose your fraud, your crimes, and this qualifies. So you should know that. Here they are raising money in their crowd pack. $15,000 is what they want. They're up to almost $3,000. Notice all of them have a GoFundMe or some form of campaign to enrich themselves.
Yep.
For themselves. And I want to show you their, what does it say about down there below?
I can't
What's it
read
say? What's it say?
I can't hardly read it at all. Immigrant rights group New Sanctuary Coalition is planning to get thousands of volunteers to work at the United States-Mexico border for 40 days and 40 nights.
This is their 40-day, 40-night campaign. This is the hell we will be going through for the next 40 days and 40 nights.
It's quite a long time.
Beware, be ready, shout it out to the rooftops, let people know what they're involving themselves in. They're accompanying asylum seekers across the border. There it is. Notify the authorities. These people are going to be running people across the border. What could be more ill-advised
and dangerous
than
for
that?
the people.
Jesus and Mary and Joseph help us all.
Yep.
Sweet baby Jesus. You cannot come soon enough. Please come and save us and get these yahoos out of the picture. In God's name, we all pray. All right, folks. Well, that is all I have for you. I will be bringing you more updates on these phonies very soon. If I don't see you before Christmas, have a Merry Christmas. Have a happy holiday. Also, I want to let you know my birthday is coming up soon. If you want to get me something, make a donation to the People's Press Project.
There you go.
Go to kpppfm.com and click on the donate link. Thank you and good night.